we're being preemptive with the energy for next week today. It's Friday today. As I'm recording this, this is going to go up in the next 24 hours. And we're looking at next week's energy. And next week's energy, for those of you who are seeing this, is all about understanding that in order to create anything, first off, you have to actually understand what it is that you want to create and have a very clear idea of that. And the second thing that you need to do is to get out of analysis paralysis mode and actually take, and this is where it gets interesting, because it's very much like the what wants to come through on this is that it's about taking the actions and the steps that are coherent with what your soul wants, and the idea, every desire that you have, really, like the desires that are going to be really fulfilling for you, the ones that come from your soul, basically, they are the ones that come from your soul. These sort of deep soul desires, the reason why your soul wants them is because your soul doesn't just want the end point. Your soul wants the experience of creating the thing, okay? Your soul very often has a very clear idea of what that experience wants to be, if this makes sense. And we have this thing as human beings where we think that in order to create this thing here, whatever it might be, like say an amount of money or whatever, then there are logical steps that someone else can teach us of what we need to do to get from like where we are to where that thing is. And this is where I want to interject, okay, and say that because your soul knows the best route and your soul knows what it wants to experience, where we fall down as human beings is where we are not actually taking these actions that our soul wants us to take, and we're following someone else's blueprint on how to create something, and then we wonder why it doesn't work. And that's a bit of an issue, okay? If you're watching this, chances are you are a creative of some sort. You are someone who has at least, the potential to be highly intuitively guided, even if you are feeling kind of foggy. And there may well be quite a few things you've fallen down on. I kind of feel like this is the message, for those of you who are seeing this, and those of you who it's going to resonate with, the reason why it's going to resonate with you is because I feel like I'm talking to a very specific group of people here. I could say collective or whatever, but when you have tried to do everybody else's fucking XYZ steps or whatever it is to create a result, and it either doesn't work or it feels really like it doesn't feel satisfying, and you end up chucking in the towel on the things you actually really want, because you start to think that either they're not possible for you, or in actual fact the creation of them doesn't feel right. It feels off because you're trying to follow someone else's blueprint. And it feels like this week it's very much more about kind of understanding, and you can do a quick muscle test on this, like, are the steps that I'm being advised to take by other people, or that I'm logically thinking with my logical brain are the steps that need to be taken, actually coherent with what my soul wants to experience with this? And you can muscle test, you can use your fingers. Basically, there's like a finger pull muscle test. So it's like, yes, no, yes, no, make sure you're hydrated. You can basically ask a test question, show me yes, show me no, basically. And then, like, okay, so for example, if I wanted to make, I'm gonna do this as an example for you now. Like, say I wanted to make a specific amount of money today, I could ask the question, or I could make the statement, in order to make, for example, £3,000 today, the most coherent step for me to take, which is in alignment with what my soul wants, would be to go and get myself a really highly paid job. No. You can see quite clearly no. So you know that that's not it. Okay. You can tap into what's right and what's wrong for you by using, basically, it's a form of kinesiology. There are loads of videos all over the internet. I've actually got a video, or two videos, one video, I think one video on my YouTube channel. Basically, if you're seeing this on YouTube, you've probably seen that video. If you're seeing this on TikTok, you probably haven't seen that video. I could try and dig it out from somewhere and re-upload it on TikTok, quite possibly, if anyone's interested. I mean, it's a few years old now. It's a good few years old. But what I'm trying to say here, and what wants to come through, is that it's so important for you to really start connecting in with, like, what is your best next step on this thing. And I am going to drop it in here because, like, all of this came through as being like, next week it's about getting out of analysis paralysis and taking the right steps for you, and understanding that the right steps for you may not be what other people are advising you to do. I kind of feel like there's been a theme going on for the past few weeks around this, of like really starting to trust your inner guidance. Okay, and if you can't tap into that, then this is the point where I drop in and say you can actually connect in really easily, working with the reboot for clarity on your soul's next, or on your next soul aligned step, which is something I created. It's only $23, and you can actually access that via the Stan store or the link tree in my bio, depending on where you're seeing this video. I will put URLs on the screen that you can put in your browser address bar. Basically, incredibly powerful piece of work. Works really, really well. You will have it. It basically comes with a PDF on how to work with it, along with a bunch of journal prompts that you can use alongside it. And there's an audio and a video, basically, both of which you can work with. Either you can work with both, depending on how you're feeling, basically, which will actually, when used and applied with any specific goal that you're looking at, which you also help yourself to define through the journal prompts in the PDF, it actually clears out all the shit that's stopping you from connecting in with what the next step is for you. It also clears out all the shit that's stopping you from taking that step. If you've got like stuff jamming you up emotionally or whatever, like say there's fear of taking it, it sorts out motivation, momentum, all of that stuff. Really, really powerful. And, you know, I'm going to keep talking about this because if you are someone who suffers from analysis paralysis, you feel stuck, you don't know what it is that you want even, this will sort you out. If you've connected with this video and you're resonating with what I'm saying here, then you need to go to the link in my bio and click on that. Basically $23, which is £16 something, I think, or, you know, just near, maybe a little bit over, I'm not sure, basically, in English money. And honestly, like, it's, if you are confused as fuck about what you're supposed to be doing next and you feel meh about stuff, it will sort you out. It will get you moving in the right direction, and you can use it over and over and over and over again. Anytime that you feel a bit like, oh, I don't know which way to go, I don't know what I'm doing, like, what is my next step, I can't hear my own intuitive guidance properly, it will sort you out. That's really, like, it's time to move forwards, but it's time to also clarify the best way to move forwards for you, basically. The world is your oyster, but you do need to have clarity on what the fuck it is you're doing. And other people's systems will not give you the clarity that your own soul will when you connect in properly. I'm sending you so much love. Mwah! I'll speak to you again soon.